traveling to consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IG Live. If you're listening on the podcast, welcome. Today, we are going to be discussing patience. We are also going to be discussing the power of patience, why patience is so important, the strength that there is in patience, why it even matters. There's going to be a lot of topics that come up here. We're going to be unpacking some pretty deep stuff. We're going to be talking about simple ways that you can just be patient. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not easy to be patient, but I have found in my life that patience is the closest thing that there is to a superpower, primarily because nobody has it. And, you know, it's like if the entire world is unable to bench press 5 pounds, maybe they can only do 3, but you can bench press 100, it becomes a superpower. So in this world, the current dynamic that we have set up, patience is going to be one of, if not the greatest superpowers that someone can have in the year 2025 and moving forward. So I do want to start off with explaining what patience is not. And the very first thing that we need to discuss is that patience is not just waiting. You can't just do nothing. You can't just sit still. You can't just wish things will happen. You can't just mosey your way through life. It just won't work. In order for you to have patience, you have to still take action. Because I know one of the biggest things that I have seen is that we will equate inaction to patience. Oh, well, I'm just waiting for blah, 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 blah. Patience is more along the lines of doing, but being okay with the result not coming. And something to also kind of point on here about the idea of inaction is that the act of not taking action is still an act in itself. So you can either do something or not do something, but either way, you've made a choice. So if you want to become successful in anything in life, you have to take action. So I want to be very clear before we start diving into this that when we're talking about patience, I'm not saying just sit around waiting for $1 million to fall out of the sky, because that's never going to happen. Never going to happen unless you're SpongeBob. Other than him, it's not going to happen. So if you are SpongeBob, then completely ignore my advice. So the closest, let's say, parallel that I have seen, and something that also kind of touches into this, is the idea of ambition and being ambitious, being an ambitious person. And I feel like patience and ambition are like a married couple. You kind of need both of them in order to be successful in life. You need to have that ambition to keep going, to keep doing, to knowing you're on the right track, believing you're on the right track. But the patience that it doesn't have to come just yet. For me, a perfect example could be like my social medias, right? I don't know what they're going to turn into, but I know if I want to have the impact that I want to have in this world, I got to start doing something. I got to start putting some content out there. I got to start doing. Back in the day, you could be patient. Oh, I'll just wait one day. One day we'll put it out. One day this will happen. And there is a modicum of truth, right? Because, and this is where the fine line comes in. Because I know for me, the busy schedule I have, whenever it came to content creation, I knew that I needed to wait to create content until I could afford somebody to create the content for me. Now, luckily, I was able to hire someone. So a lot of the content you see is just me filming, and I can just send it to this editor who will just chop it all up, add some captions, some music, perfect. But to get back to the point, there was this nagging in me, this little itch of, you should be posting content. You should be posting content. You should be posting content. And realizing the power in being patient and trusting my plan, trusting the plan of waiting until I had somebody who could do it for me so that I was not overloading on a certain aspect or a certain thing. Because of course I can edit content. I've done it before. It's a tremendous amount of time, but I needed to be patient for my plan to unfold. So if I wasn't at a position to hire someone, or there wasn't anyone in my life who could do it, I needed to be patient for that to come up. Keep looking. I kept looking. And finally it came to me who it was, how we would do it. And it's all working out perfectly. Views are through the roof on all social media platforms. I think we have in the last month, over 100,000 views across all the platforms, which I think is great. And the key is that I don't think we would have got here. I would still be here, still have the energy to keep going if I was the one videotaping all of them, or I was the one editing all of them. And so it's being patient so that you can keep building on what it is that you're creating. And so it's good to be ambitious. It's good to have ambitious goals, but don't skip the steps in order to get where you're trying to go. Don't rush it. Don't rush the process. You'll get those nags. I promise you, you'll get those nags. You should be making content. You should be making content. You should be making content. Calm it down. Let it flow. Realize that you have a plan, that you can't create content until X happens. Then once X happens, the stars are aligned. And I think what I've realized, and this is really where it comes into patience being a superpower, is had I listened to that little nagging element of you should be creating content, had I listened to that, I would have ultimately taken steps backwards because I would have been more burnt out. I wouldn't have been able to get things done. Things wouldn't have unfolded the way they would. And so being able to keep doing without seeing the end result, it's a superpower. And the reason I see this as even becoming more of a superpower, becoming exponentially a superpower, is because majority of people nowadays are on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they have 3 to 5 seconds and they scroll. No patience to see what it is. This is how quick people will go past stuff. That's how quick it happens. Mas gosto de te ouvir. Obrigado. Bem-vindo. Meu português não é bom, não é melhor, por isso subjetivo falar. Mas obrigado. What was I saying? Patience. Sorry, in case you're English speaking, someone in the comments said, I don't understand a lot of English, but I like to listen to you. So thank you. So I told her, thank you. I don't know enough Portuguese to speak about this in Portuguese, but maybe in the future, here we go. In the future, I would love for all of my content to be translated into multiple languages. I think that's a beautiful thing. I learned that from Mr. Beast. He talks about how all of his content goes out into different languages. And so I see that as, I can't do that right now. That would crush me. The amount of effort and time to create 5 more Instagram accounts, 5 more TikTok accounts for the top 5 languages. It's crazy. So I have to be patient. I have to wait till I have the finances to do that. I have to wait for things to unravel in order for me to take advantage of those things. So be patient. This is why patience is a strength, and it's going to be continuing to become a strength the more that people dive into these 2 to 3 second little dopamine hits that you see everywhere. And here's, maybe we jump into why I see this as a spiritual thing. This is why I find that not only will this unlock physical layer, but this will also unlock spiritual things. Now, without sounding crazy, there are definitely spiritual powers that people possess. There's too many documentations of it, and I have experienced things myself that have shown me spiritual powers in other people and within myself. This is the best I can tell you. And so where patience comes into the spiritual realm is that patience will help you unlock the peace within you, unlock the calmness. And I've noticed whenever you are able to become more calm, more peaceful, more spiritual gifts, more insights, more intuition seems to come online. And so many times throughout my endeavor, I've seen people wanting that quick, how are you able to do that? How did you do that so quickly? How is this? How is that? Da, 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 da. And sometimes the answer just comes down to be patient. Maybe something's not for you. Maybe it's for someone else. Maybe it's not your time yet. Maybe you need to go through other tests in order for you to unlock those abilities. Because I know that we wish for things. And I actually heard this on a recent podcast, is that we wish for things, but we have to realize that there's two people who are listening. And the idea is that God's one of them and the devil's the other one. And what it seems to me, the way things have played out in my life, is that just because you want something doesn't mean you're ready for it. And you will likely be tested before getting that thing. I've noticed in my life, some of the greatest breakthroughs happen after a time of trial and tribulation. And so with that being said and having that perspective, it's made me more patient. I am far more patient with the process, with being okay with how things will unravel, because I can sit here and say, I want $100 million. I want a Lamborghini. I want a Bugatti. I want a $1 million house. But after everything I've been through, I know that in order to get those things, it's going to come with massive amounts of tests, psychological tests, maybe physical tests, mostly psychological. So there's this piece of me where it's like, okay, that's the goal, but I'll wait. I am very happy to wait. You want me to wait 100 years? Fine. But the key is, and this is where it comes back to what we were saying earlier about the ambition, is that you have to do something. You, in essence, choose your demons. If you do nothing, you sit on a couch, you eat potato chips, you watch TV, you're going to become overweight. You're going to become fatigued. You're going to become stressed in other ways. So you're taking short-term pleasure for long-term pain. Versus if you take action, if you're on your ambitions, you're going to trade short-term pain for long-term pleasure. And so this is where that little solid kind of like back and forth happens. Be ambitious. Be patient. The combination of those two will unlock your path. Communicate with the universe if you want. Tell it what you're looking for. Maybe you need another relationship. Maybe you want more money. But the hurdle that you have to go through is what tests if you're ready for that thing. If you're truly going to be able to harness that thing. If you're going to be able to use it for good or for evil. And so that test occurs. And so the question you've got to ask yourself is, well, are you ready for the test? And the honest answer that I've always come back to is I don't know if I am or I'm not. And so to find solace in that, I choose patience. I'll keep asking for what I desire in life from nature, from God, from spirit, from source. But I know that in order to get that thing, it's going to have to go through a challenge. And so therefore become patient. I know that everything that's great comes with an equal and opposite force. And at least for me, that helps me become very patient. And I really think that's the crux of it, which is realizing that that's the case. Because think about it. Where does lack of patience come from? What is it that makes you lacking the ability to wait? A big one would be instant gratification. But if you go a deeper layer, a layer deeper, you might find that you feel that this thing is going to fill something within you. It's going to complete you. Life will be better once I have X, Y, or Z. When the reality is that you have it all. You have the ability to be happy right now, right here. You have that ability. You own that ability. Nothing in the material world is going to give you that. The material world is more of a training ground, if you will. The material world is more to test the resolve of your soul in doing what it is you think or you feel you were put on this earth to do. And so I find it that being patient is a very strong way to find the flow of your life as well. Keep doing. We talked about this at the beginning. You have to keep doing, taking action, but being okay without the outcome, without the reward. Realizing, what if it never comes? Maybe it wasn't meant for this life. But there's also a piece of me that says and has seen that if you do one thing for 10 years, you're going to see the reward that you're looking for. And there's obviously a whole bunch of other underlying presuppositions in there, such as, are you doing the thing? Like, you can't study music if you want to be a great coder, for example. Like, you have to at least somehow be aligned with it. But the point is, though, is that you will get there eventually. How patient can you be to get there? Can you ask the right questions? Can you enjoy the process, the ever evolving flow that it will take to reach that thing that you're aiming for? I think that's the biggest question that you have to answer. I don't know the answer to that question for you. I can tell you from personal experience that the more that I've trusted, the more that I've been patient, mixed with focusing on my ambitions, the more my life has seemed to flow. The quicker things have actually happened. The less stress that I have felt within my body. The more I've felt connected with my soul. And it really becomes a beautiful thing once you find that place of peace and patience within your life and within your body and within your mind. Because that's really where the war is fought, is within your mind. You should do this. You should do that. You should think about this. You should be that. I think Alex Hormozy talks about how you need to prune things. He talks about how, especially as a creator or business owner, you go all over the place. And I think it was very wise. The way he spoke about it is that you got to prune. It's like a tree. You got to keep pruning things that pop up in your mind, because it's easier to chase. He calls it the girl in the red dress. It's a Matrix reference, but he calls it the girl in the red dress because you're chasing this new pretty thing over and over again. When in reality, the one thing that you're aiming for, you just have to focus on that. You have to be patient. It's easy to start something new. It's hard to keep going on a path in a certain way. So that's my recommendation. That is my insight on patience. I saw a lot of people joined here late. So if you are interested in hearing the entire download, if you will, the entire transmission, it's going to be live on my podcast tomorrow, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I see there's a few people here, but if there aren't any questions, then I'm just going to jump off. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Go check out the podcast. If you're interested in this type of knowledge, I highly recommend you searching the Indigo Education, episodes on my podcast. Those episodes are very powerful. You will get a lot of energy and knowledge and wisdom just by listening to those. Just type in Indigo Education when you're searching my podcast. And honestly, I don't think anybody else knows about Indigo Education. I haven't seen anyone else talking about it. So you'll probably be able to just search that, generally speaking, and find it. But yeah, that would be my suggestion to you. If you want to be notified via email about what's coming up for these IG lives, then shoot me, or no, don't shoot me anything, but check out the newsletter. I think you know where to find it. Check out the newsletter, sign up for it. And we've got some pretty cool offers in the pipeline. So I'm excited to get those out there. With all of that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience with me. And I will see you guys all next week. But as for you conscious monkeys, I'll see all of you in the 6th dimension.